We do want to try and use our time wisely because we have a big meeting tonight. So I'm going to call to order this open session of the National School District Governing Board. And I'm going to ask Malachi Jones, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Right now.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Malachi. Will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sarmiento? Here. Ms. Avalos? Here. Ms. Benford Castañeda?
Present.
Ms. Lizarraga?
Present.
Ms. Gates?
Present. During closed session, the board voted unanimously to dismiss 3 pending government tort claims without financial costs to the district. I was supposed to report things, so that was one of them. Thank you. Item 5 for the evening is presentations. This is just straight up probably the best part of every meeting. So we have presentations from our different groups, starting with our kids. Our first one, 5A, is presentation by the Superintendent Roundtable. Dr. Brady?
Sure, if we could have our members from the Superintendent Roundtable, please head over to the podium where Mrs. Gomez is standing. And Governing Board, you know our roundtable has been hard at work, and here tonight we have a stellar group of students that will give you an update on what they've been up to. Roundtable.
Good evening, President Gates, trustees, Dr. Brady, and Executive Cabinet. I am Maya Gomez-Lanoska, and I represent Palmer Way School. The Superintendent Roundtable is a carefully selected group of 6th grade leaders from each of our 10 elementary schools across the district. We work alongside our superintendent, Dr. Brady, offering valuable insights, diverse perspectives, and innovative solutions around the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Tonight, my colleagues and I are going to give you a brief update on our work as Roundtable ambassadors. We'll be sharing our participation in the Global Education Forum and next steps for Earth Talk. Let's begin.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Luciano Villota from Las Palmas School. My colleagues and I are very honored to be able to attend this year's Global Education Forum at the University of San Diego and to speak about the student-driven sustainable development. This event brought together educators, students, and communities partners across California. This year's theme was Halfway to 2030 with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This is a topic that we are very passionate about. We continued virtually with other people across California listen to a keynote presentation heard from the panel, and participated in a breakout session. Oh yeah, and we also took a very first ride on our new electric school bus.
Good evening, trustees. I am Brianna Parnastoro from Don Otis School. I was one of the presenters during breakout session. As my colleagues mentioned, we were asked to share what we are doing to address the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as students in national school districts. We shared our experiences on Roundtable with Earth Hop, TED Talks, and Project Atom. We also shared about our district programs, Ocean Connectors, Heroes of Color Animation, and Olivewood Gardens. Here's a picture of me presenting that Olivewood Gardens is aligned to SDG 15, Life on Land, SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, as well as SDG 4, Quality Education, and SDG 16, Partnerships for the Goals. I explained how lessons built across the grades through a series of essential questions, from what a plant needs to grow, how the plant parts help it grow, the importance of biodiversity, changing organisms, adaptations, interdependence, and structures that enable growth. By the time we leave sixth grade, we are living the mission of healthy and active citizens through organic gardening, environmental stewardship, and nutrition education.
Hi, I'm Mariana da Silveira and I'm from Kimball School. At the Global Forum, we had a panel of expert speakers to share experiences about their work with the global goals. I was proud to be selected to represent the National School District Superintendent Roundtable on this panel. The other members included our superintendent, Dr. Brady, the executive director for multilingual education and global achievement from the San Diego County Office of Education, a vice principal from Claremont High School, and 2 high school students from Hilltop High in Chula Vista. Ms. Bettina Hausman, the United Nations liaison for the United States, was a moderator of the panel. She asked me questions about why it is important to focus on the SDGs and which SDG was my favorite and why. I shared that we all needed to work together for our future and that I'm particularly interested in goal number 5 for gender equality. That is also one that I am focused on for my TED student talk at school and at Student Roundtable.
Hi, I'm Victoria Penguin from Ira Hubbard School. In the coming months, we will be very busy finishing our song for our Earth Health album. Our partners in Puerto Rico had some technical difficulties listening. Therefore, you'll see an item on tonight's agenda to approve out-of-state travel for 2 of our NSD teachers to go to Puerto Rico to help them connect with us. Our teachers will teach the Cagua students the lessons we have been learning and help them connect on our April 5th, 2024 meeting. We hope that you will consider voting yes on this item. And don't worry, the money will be coming from our very own $5,000 Alice grant, which we have received to make this partnership better. As we say in National, whatever it takes. So that's what the National School District Superintendent Student Roundtable is up to. Thank you for letting us present tonight. Does the board have any questions for us?
I don't have a light lit up, so somebody. Any questions? Comments, feedback? Trustee Lozada?
Yeah, I heard that you met somebody from the United Nations. How do you feel about that?
It was fun, it was nice to meet them.
Don't feel threatened. You can be one of them.
You might be. Yes. I like this comment that you made. I know that you were talking about it with regard to plants, but structures that enable growth. Because when we start, like, I'm old, let's just face it. And so I start thinking about all the places where structures enable growth, right? It's not just in a plant. There's also the way you treat your families, the way you take care of each other that helps with that. And I'm just glad that you get the opportunity to go and have these conversations, because every time that those of you from the roundtable come back, you feed something for me, you trigger something in my own thinking that makes me go, okay, wait a minute. Like, you also use the word stewardship. Stewardship means intentional care for the things that are around us. Like, you're throwing that out, and you talked about gender equality, all of these pieces that are part of that structure that helps us all to grow. And so thank you for the reminder once again that that the opportunities that you have teach us so much. So thanks for coming tonight.
I just wanted to say thank you for being here and presenting here tonight. As I said before, and when your other colleagues have been here, it's never easy to come and present, and you guys always come with such poise and presentation, and you have a very wonderful leader, and definitely you're learning from the best. So thank you for being here and taking your extra time to learn and to really develop. And your parents, you have to thank them for going the extra mile to be able to support you. So thank you, parents, for being here, because it does take a lot of effort. It
does. So thank you.
And also your teachers, thank you. Please, I don't want to leave anyone out because it does take everybody's support to ensure that our students are getting the best of the best. So thank you.
Trustee Lizarraga?
I'm gonna be brief on that one because I'm a farmer myself, and I just want to find out, how do you feel now that you learning about how your food grows? And I know, and I'm a strong believer that the food is medicine as well. So how do you feel more mindful about eating something that is that you may grow at home, and that you may be more mindful about how to take care of a plant and how it does for the environment? I would like to see your thoughts on that. Whoever wants to. I heard that you visit a garden and that you're learning about it, and I begin somehow you be touched about how a plant grows and the food science. So stand out.
You can talk about your garden lessons at school or your Olivewood garden experience that you went to in 4th grade. All right,
There
Luciano.
you go, Luciano.
So today we had a class about how worms help the environment, because their poop has a lot of nutrients, and if they eat the compost, and they also make holes to grow out the roots from the trees and make water the rain go to the soil more deeper.
Great, that's food science, right? Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you. Trustee Avalos?
I want to thank you, children. I am from Natchez City, you all know that. I went to Kimball School. And I want to thank you for going to every meeting once a month to be able to put input into our district here. Because you children know what we need. It's without you that we don't know what we need to help you children get into our world here. So I want to thank you so much for giving an input here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Sarmiento?
Thank you. I'm going to piggyback on her comments and just say that you're the future. I don't know if you thought about that, but when you grow up, become adults, raise your own families, you're going to be looking at these types of things to find out how you can best improve our planet for your families and for the generations to come. Thank you for putting in all that time to do so.
Dr. Brady?
I just want to thank our roundtable representatives for coming out and presenting tonight, and to just remind the board that we're coming to the end of this school year pretty soon, and we only have a few more roundtable meetings. Our next one is on April 5th, if you would like to come and join us. We do work the whole time, all the way through lunch. We have working lunches. And the kids did take the first ever ride on our electric school bus. But if the board RSVPs, we'll ask Ms. Byerly to pick up the students on the electric bus, and you can be on the bus and ride back here to the district office with them. So just respond to RSVP to our offices, and we'll make sure that we make that accommodation. We'd love to have you. And thank you again to our students.
I want to thank everybody for being here, and especially the parents of these lovely children here. And now they know what it is to go to a meeting once a month. And as soon as you get older, you might have to be going to meetings like 3 or 4 times a week. But you're going to be into committees and help our district with strength and ideas. Because we certainly need them, right? Every idea counts. So we're so proud of you. And we are here on behalf of the board, our superintendent, Dr. Brady, and our board here. We're going to give you a certificate because we are so proud of you here. And this is for Maria Gomez Ronan. Maya. I said Maria, I'm sorry. That's you. Yeah. Can I have you stand by me? Luciana Villalota. And this is Brianna.
Yeah.
Parents? Any parents here?
Anybody would like, any of the parents want to come up and get in the picture while I'm speaking on it? We can type it up.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Does anybody else have a cell phone that they want a picture of with?
Thank you.
1, 2, and 3. Perfect. One more? Oh, there's one more. Okay. You're going to do it. No problem. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And there's one more. I think I got it. 1, 2, and 3. I think I did it.
All right, All right, item 5B is presentation by Lincoln Acres School students. We have Principal Maurice Joe, who will introduce them.
Hello, good evening, Board President Ms. Gates, Cabinet, board members. Thank you for having Lincoln Acres here with the opportunity to present about a seed idea that has evolved into a watermelon. We started with a project of striving together between our kinder students and 6th grade students with the idea that help our students who are needing more access and more experience with reading and working with books and learning how to play with them and open them and find pictures. And 6th graders were great at that. And teachers, because I have a great, amazing group of adult humans in my school that are always paying attention on what works and what doesn't work. Realize that this partnership between kindergartners and 6th graders was not only working for our kinder friends, but was also working for our 6th grade friends. And an idea that started for a set amount of time has evolved through the entire year and created this partnerships that when my kindergartners see the 6th graders during the playground time in the morning at arrival at dismissal, they are now buddies, they are now friends, they have another ally that can support them and guide them throughout their school day and support them and guide them through their journey of learning how to read, from memorizing their high frequency words through to now reading for those kindergartners who are already reading their books independently. They have somebody they can do this work with. But I am taking away, I have a great team. I have all my teachers here. They were so excited. I have Ms. Castello, 6th grade, Ms. Kwan, 6th grade, Ms. Barragan, kinder, Ms. Pintado Mendez, kinder, and Ms. Baeza over here, kinder. And would one of you like to introduce? But you can stand up because you guys and we will also have kids having to reception. Don't worry about that. We brought the
Good evening, Governing Board and Executive Cabinet, and our very supportive families. We are here tonight because our sixth grade and our kindergarten teachers have proudly brought a few Lincoln Acres students with us to share their knowledge and experiences with you about our Buddy Readers program. So if we could please have Malachi and Dion Jones come on up. We have Ezra Mirza, come on up. And if we can have Bertha Linda, come on up. Everybody got her number. And so today we have a very special program, and I just wanted to start off by letting you know that I've been in this school district for 15 years, and that this is actually my first board meeting presentation. And so when I use the word proud, I honestly mean it. I am truly proud of what these students have been doing this entire year. And so as we are focusing on the slides and on what the students have to share, I do want you to take note of our first focus is higher interest and engagement in reading. And so as you go through and you listen to what the students have to say, and you are going to see some live footage, you are going to notice that the students are very highly engaged. So that's what I just want to point out for you guys to all see. So in the beginning, our sixth graders are striving to provide kindergartners quality education by using ARC Yellow Level readers to teach concepts about print and to develop a love for reading. So I'm going to ask my first student to come on up, and that's Bertha Linda Hernandez. Bertha Linda. This is Bertha Linda's reading journal. And so you can see there are lots of titles of books that her and her buddy have read together. Bertha Linda, can you tell your mama and everybody else how many books you have read with Carlos?
61.
And we went through and we picked out just a few of her favorite ones. But Bertha Linda, can you tell your mom and everybody else which book was your absolute favorite that you read with Carlos?
Wolf Spiders.
Oh, and I just wanted to point out, you guys, and this is, just so you know, right here, we have read over the sixth graders and the kindergartners have read and recorded over 2,000 books on their reading log. So these sixth graders and these kindergartners have been reading a lot. So our sixth graders are striving to reduce inequalities by giving all kindergartners the opportunity to receive one-on-one support in developing their individual skills that they need to become successful readers. So some kids work with their buddies with practicing the alphabet review. We use technology, we practice power words, and we practice phonics games. So if I could introduce Malachi Jones to come on out, Malachi. And this is his brother. And Malachi is going to describe what he does during a reading buddy session with his reading buddy, Emmanuel.
During reading buddy sessions, usually it was reading, but more recently we've been doing like words, and the sight words. Emmanuel's been doing really good at learning the sight words. And me and him have read a lot. We read books, we read on his tablet, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right, so finally, our sixth graders and our kindergartners have strived to develop strong partnerships in building reading skills. So for this one, I'm going to invite Ezra. Ezra, come on up. And Ezra and Dion are partners. They're buddies. They're reading buddies. And so Ezra, can you tell everybody, can you tell them 2 things that you like about having Dion as your kindergarten buddy?
Muscat is fun and funny, and like we get through books like super fast.
And Dion, can you tell everybody what kinds of books you like to read with Ezra? About oceans You like to read books about oceans? and games. Oh. And do you like having Ezra as a kindergarten buddy? Yeah. Great buddy? Yeah. Is it fun? Yeah. And so we are going to present to you this video that is actually live footage because we get to see this at every single Wednesday. We get to see the kids reading and the kids engaging, but we wanted to give everybody else just a small little sneak peek at what we get to see every day. So again, you're going to see a lot of high engagement. So as you can tell, our kindergartners and our 6th graders have started to develop very strong partnerships in reading skills, and we hope that you've enjoyed our presentation. And thank you so much to Ezra, Malachi, Dion, and Rosalinda for coming.
Wow. What an amazing program you guys have at Lincoln Acres. I love to see how the little ones and the big ones are engaging. It doesn't have a buddy all the time. So if they ever feel lonely or if they feel a little out of place, they can go to their buddy at any time. So I love that you have that at your site. So thank you to the big ones that are willing to work with the little ones, because it's not always that you get somebody that's willing to go and be with the little ones, because they feel like, well, they're too little, I don't want to be with them, you know. So thank you. Well, on behalf of the governing board and cabinet, I wanted to award those that were here with us tonight a certificate and a little token for your participation. Dion Jones. Bertha Linda. Isra. Malachi Jones. You guys did an amazing job. Be proud. And parents as well. Thank you for being here.
I'm gonna cut it here just because I feel like it.
Perfect. All yours.
Really good.
Malachi,
you were looking.
Ciao, everybody.
Parents, teachers, principal, come on up. Counselor. Come on up, Lincoln Acres family.
You got everything? Any more Item 5C is to recognize Maria Figueroa as a National School District Strive volunteer, and Principal Louise Joe will be making that presentation as well.
Good evening again, amazing humans up there. Today's just an exciting day for me. I get to show off so much of the amazingness that is going on at Lincoln Acres, from our amazing students to our amazing teachers, and not to be outdone, our amazing volunteer. I have the honor of presenting to you Ms. Maria Figueroa. Ms. Maria is our role model to follow in our community, in our school. She has given us the pleasure and the great opportunity to allow us to learn alongside of her, to better work with, is it okay if I say her name? With Alana. And she is our first TK student with type 1 diabetes that we've had the pleasure of serving and learning how to work with. And she has been pushing us beyond striving to thriving in making sure that what we do for our students, not only her child, but all of our children at school, is around love, inclusivity, growth, and learning. Ms. Figueroa has provided much more to us than all of her time, because anytime we need support, we give her a call. We're gonna have food bags here, and the students are gonna be getting vegetables. I need somebody to open up bags, and there's Ms. Figueroa opening up bags. I need school site council. There's Ms. Figueroa, our president for school site council. So everything that I need even though she has a full schedule, she is there to support us, and she does it with such a kind heart. And she gives us the pleasure of working with her, learning with her, that it goes beyond volunteerism, but that bond of family that we're able to create because our parents allow us to work together to go beyond. And Ms. Hernandez is here, the teacher of Alana, because it's a family ordeal. Ms. Hernandez has been with Alana to their run because they did a type 1 diabetes run, and Ms. Figueroa was gracious to invite us and always keep us involved in the learning and in the growing process. So for me, that opportunity to strive as a school, to strive as a district, and for her to always keep us in mind is the reason why I wanted to make sure that you didn't feel unnoticed. We value you so much. We are so appreciative of you and your partnership. And it's just a pleasure to work with you, with your family. I get 2 for 1 too because Dad is also amazing. I don't want to outshine Dad. I really appreciate him as well. But it's just an amazing family and a great addition to our learning community. So thank you, Ms. Figueroa, for everything that you do.
I just want to thank everyone. It really is like a family. And I would not be able to do this without all of you. Everyone in Alana's life.
Bravo.
A whole impact in our life in the type 1 diabetic community. We have gotten a grant to be able to help more kids, and that is all because of all of the help that you guys do to be able, Dr. Brady, with, getting everyone from like Sharp, it has been amazing to be able to have Alana go to school and have a family that she rules the school, guys. Like it is amazing, and I would not be able to be here so relieved without the help of my parents, because I'm able to be here and help everyone whenever they need me, because they can take the baby and I'm like, all right, let's do this. So thank you to my parents, thank you to everyone, and you guys are in my heart forever, and thank you.
Oh wow, what an honor for me to have this wonderful recognition to you. It's an honor to have a 4x4, although also a mother. I'm really validating the things. I was feeling when she was talking, and I didn't want to tear because this is a joy day.
Yeah.
So thank you for everything you do. That thank you on maybe not enough for the incredible holiday you give. So in regards to on behalf of the board, this is maybe a little token of gratitude for everybody else that is behind you. We all feel you here. Thank you so much for what you do. And this is a little token. So I know you won't be stopping here. So Lincoln thank you, and your daughter needs you too. But take time for yourself too. That's my dad. Thank you so much.
You deserve to be shout out.
To the whole family. And we'll get the school with you.
We're gonna wait for the family and then us.
1, 2, 3, say cheese. Good job.
No, no, no.
Most precious, beautiful thing. Okay, cheese.
Let's go. Olive Lincoln Acres. Let's have Olive Lincoln Acres. Come on up.
All right. Item 5D is to recognize Jamie Hill as the National School District Employee of the Month for March 2024. And Principal Walker of Las Palmas will be making this presentation.
Good evening, Governing Board and Executive Cabinet. I'm Berenice Walker, proud principal of Las Palmas. And with me here is Jamie. Jamie Hill is an amazing fifth grade teacher at Las Palmas, and I am so proud to be recognizing her as our Employee of the Month. She has so many things to say. I have so many things to say about her, but I had to condense it because I wanted to not just talk about her all evening, but she has been a teacher in the National School District for a little over 20 years. So before Las Palmas, she was also at IRA and at Palmer Way. And what is amazing about Jamie is that she carries herself with the same passion as a brand new teacher. Like you can tell that she just is a teacher through and through and loves what she does. She 100%, you can count on her to do what is best for the children and for our school community. Jamie strives to give her students the best education possible by knowing the students, by preparing engaging lessons, motivating them to do their best. She's consistently trying different ways of engaging the students. She recently read a book that motivated her to get whiteboards all across the classroom so that the students could work in math groups together. I believe it's Thinking Classrooms, right? Building Thinking Classrooms. I couldn't quite remember, but Building Thinking Classrooms. And she was relentless. She's like, this is what's good for the students, Mrs. Walker, you need to get me the whiteboards. And so we got her the whiteboards. Took a little bit of doing, but we got them for her. And so we've been having these data conversations with our teachers. It's supposed to be the principals that are driving the conversations. Jamie's like, sit down, I got my binder. I'm gonna tell you exactly where the students are. Here are the work samples, here's the assessment results, here's the attendance data. Like she has it all prepared. I just sit there and I listen. I go, what can I do to help you? Because you got it all covered. So if you ever feel like you need extra time to go over data, go visit her classroom. And as a result, I was taking a look at some of her results recently, and some of her students have already made 2 to 3 years of growth on her iReady. So congratulations on that. And, I know that's always nerve-wracking to look at the results, right? But beyond the classroom, not only does she do what's best for the students, but if you've ever interacted with her, you know she has just such a warm and caring heart. She's so passionate about being a teacher. And her dog. I mean, they're kind of both in line there. She'll also talk your ear off about your dog because he holds a special place, absolutely. But at school, she truly cares about students and staff. She's very thoughtful. She addresses students' concerns immediately. The children feel supported by her. And the staff and the teachers feel supported by her also. She always has great ideas. She is pushing us to thinking like, have you thought about it this other way? Have you considered this other things? You know, she's very forthcoming with how to make Las Palmas a better place. So she's constantly collaborating with teachers and staff to make it a great place to not only learn, but to work. Her thoughtfulness is definitely felt throughout the campus through small tokens of appreciation for notes, encouraging words, and always a smile. So in short, Jamie, you truly embody what it takes. The National School District motto of whatever it takes, relationships matters, and children first. So thank you for being an amazing teacher. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to Mrs. Walker. She was very polite when she said I was being persistent about the whiteboards because the more accurate word would be nagging. Thank you. If anyone would like to see students really into thinking math problems, let me know. You can stop by anytime when they're up with the whiteboards. It's really, really impressive. We're doing 2 days a week this year, and I'm hoping to move to 3 days a week next year. So you're welcome anytime. One of my favorite things other than my dog Hope, which Ms. Walker mentioned, is teaching. I should just get a pin that says, ask me about teaching. I love talking about teaching, and one of my favorite things is when I first meet people and they ask me, what do you do? And I say, I'm a teacher, and they ask me about it. I have so many stories I love to tell, and I want to share one with you tonight. It's one of my favorites. I think we're really intentional in our National School District family about doing things like the round table and the buddy reading, and hats off to all the students tonight. I'm so impressed with everything, especially the 61 books. That's my goal to beat now. But for me in the National School District family, it's the little things. I had a student a few years back, I was out one day after school, and a younger student came up to me, was not in my class, and he knew me because his sibling had been in my class, and he was showing off his very nice, like, puffy jacket, and he said, Miss Hill, do you like my jacket? And I was like, of course, I love it. It looks so handsome on you. And he's like, oh, it's from one of your students. And I was kind of unsure because his sibling wasn't in my class that year, and I was like, oh, one of my students gave you that? And so I kind of went and asked a few questions, and it turned out a friend of a friend of a friend had seen him at recess in the morning. It was cold. He didn't have a jacket. The student went home, told her mom. They went that day to the store, bought a beautiful, perfect size jacket, brought it to school the next day, gave it to him. I would never have known if I hadn't just bumped into him and he had told me that story. And that's what the National School District family is to me, is really good people just watching out for each other. So I'm so honored to be recognized tonight amongst all of these wonderful people. So
I just told her she's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
It's my honor to present you with the certificate, the Employee of the Month Award, recognizing Jamie Hill, recognizing your noteworthy contributions to our children and families in the National School District. And not only that, you get this really cool pen. You love pens? Oh, well, this is going to be the top of your list, because is that cool or what? And I just want to say thank you, because people like you that shine, that make our students shine, our district shine, everything about the National School District, because you're so charismatic and you have so much love in your heart, and it shows. Can you tell? It shows. So I just want to say thank you, because you're just a wonderful, wonderful teacher. I'm glad you finally got the recognition that you deserve, and I also hope you stay around for a long, long time. Thank you. Yay. Got it?
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I love it. Okay, here we go. Thank you.
So item 5E is officially honor community partners for their generosity, but I think we're going to rename it really good people watching out for each other. Because we would like to honor some of our partners who have stepped up for the school district this year. We have Schools First Credit Union, who has contributed $4,000 to our staff welcome back breakfast that led into a full day of professional development. And so we want to thank you for, and if I can have my Schools First people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, we are thankful for you. It's not every day that we turn around and are able to provide a full meal to our staff just as a thank you, and you are part of what made that possible. So I was told I should ask you if you have anything you'd like to share.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for everything that you do for our students, our schools, our community. it's amazing. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you.
Well, I know that you're gonna be put in pictures in a second, so you
Okay.
give you one.
Perfect.
Oh, and by the way, just in case you got pastries and coffee tonight, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, we also want to thank North Island Credit Union. So they contributed as well, $500 to that same staff breakfast. And again, that led into a full day of professional development. So if you're going to actually ask the teachers and staff to actually have a full day of training, feeding them matters. So we're thankful for that. But another thing they do, at this time of year, it is Read Across America. It's one of those events that started, we connected with Theodore Geisel, Dr. Seuss, and that Read Across America, we bring people in from the community, from the neighborhoods, we bring all kinds of people in to read to our kids and remind them of how cool reading is. But also at this time of the year, we kick off a book writing contest for our sixth graders. And so we have sixth graders write as they come through and finish that product. They illustrate the books, they author the books, and then those books are reviewed, they're read, they are brought for a competition, which we as board members also get to read, which is really very fun and very cool. We have some clever kids, let's just say that. And those books then, one is selected as the book that will be put into print for our schools. And so, and also the National City Library has a full copy or full sets of the books that we have put together. And North Island Credit Union, I almost said National City, so here we are again. North Island Credit Union is who puts those books and prints those books for us, pays for them to be put together. We had 88 copies of the Read Across America Writing Contest winning stories printed and given to our district so that each library has one, so that National City Library has one, and then we have classrooms. It's just very cool. And so for that, those of you who are here for North Island Credit Union, would you please come and join us too? Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, buenas tardes. My name is Nancy Bañuelos. I am the Senior School and Community Development Officer with North Island Credit Union, and I'm right here too. I was like, oh my goodness, it's me. No thanks. I just want to say thank you so much. And one thing I do want to mention, everything that we are able to do is thanks to the amazing team that you have here, always advocating for you, for the employees, for the kids. So we appreciate the partnership. We really, we're honored to be able to support National City and National School District. We do business here, so we always say we love to support where we do business. We are a financial institution, but we also do other things giving back, including our teacher grant. So for all those teachers that are still here, the North Island Credit Union Foundation is awarding 10 $500 grants. So please apply. Parents, let your teachers know to apply if they have a project or something for their students. Thank you.
More whiteboard statements.
Hi, everybody. My name's Kristen. I'm a branch manager. I work down the street at our South Bay branch. It's just a pleasure to be here. It's so exciting to hear everybody's stories. Like, you got me a little teary-eyed earlier. But this is amazing. I just love, being in this community. I grew up just down the street in Chula Vista, so I just love this. Thank you. Thank you for this award.
As I mentioned,
and on behalf of the board, we got a grant of certificates and all of the token of gratitude.
It's okay.
Yeah, first.
No.
We're all for
I'll put mine here.
Okay, sure. We can hear it.
That is my phone.
Okay,
yes.
I'll give
Okay.
you. Here we go. So, schools first, credit union.
All right.
Back
Thank you
for
very much.
you, absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll get in there.
All right.
I'm timing, sorry.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we can all.
And
Okay.
I would thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll do one of my, right? Is that right? I know. Okay, I did all three. And then can we do one with that one? Yeah. No, we do it.
Without
We're cool. Okay. Ready? One. Perfect. You're welcome.
All right, now, item 5F is to introduce and welcome new employees. Dr. Kevin.
I have the pleasure of introducing and welcoming our new employees. I'm going to go ahead and call those that are here, and if you wouldn't mind coming up, we'll take another picture, and I'll go ahead and read a little bit of a bio on each employee, and then after we're done with that, I'll introduce the employees who could not make it tonight, okay? Our first employee who's here is Liz Buxton, Administrative Assistant at Central School. Come on up. Ms. Buxton has over 11 years of experience as an administrative assistant with Rutgers School of Dental Medicine. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Applied Management from Grand Canyon University. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you.
Our next employee is Maria Maldonado, Transportation Student Attendant. Ms. Maldonado has experience. Ms. Maldonado has experience in the warehouse at Costco Optical, in retail for Brooks Brothers, and various positions in revenue collections, public accounts, and purchasing with the City Hall in Rosarito, Mexico. She holds a Bachelor in International Business degree from CSUN University and a Master's of Project Management degree from SUMA University. Welcome, Maria. Our next employee is Jordan Molinar, custodian at Lincoln Acres School. Night custodian. Come on up. Mr. Molinar has 3 years of experience as a driver manager for Armani Investment Group. He also has experience as a janitor for Pegasus Cleaning Service and 12 years of experience as a teacher's aide and janitor with Coachella Valley Unified School District. He holds a bachelor's degree in liberal arts from College of the Desert. Welcome, Jordan. Our 2 other employees that could not make it tonight is Lino Garcia, custodian night at the district office. Mr. Garcia has experience as a substitute custodian with the National School District. He also has experience as a repair person for TLG Transport and a janitor for an Airbnb. Welcome, Lino. Our last employee is Christina Sierra, Instructional Assistant Healthcare at El Toyon and Olivewood School. Ms. Sierra has experience as a substitute instructional assistant with the National School District and Scoot Education. She also has over 10 years of experience as a preschool teacher with St. Paul Senior Services. She holds an associate's degree in child development, infant and toddler from Cuyamaca College and a bachelor's degree in English from National University. Welcome, Christina. welcome to all of our new employees.
All right, we are getting ready for the business part of the night. So for those of you who need to go home because you have chores or homework or a dog that's waiting for you or just because whatever, thank you so much for coming. It's been good to have you here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Nice, thank you.
All right, item 6 is public communications. Public communication provides the public with an opportunity to address the board regarding an item on the agenda or other topic. Anyone wishing to address the board shall submit a request for oral communications card. Cards are available near the entrance to the boardroom and are to be submitted to the recording secretary. A member of the public who wishes to address the board on any such matter is limited to 3 minutes for one matter, up to a maximum of 5 minutes for all closed and open session matters. There shall be a limit of 20 minutes for any matter unless such time limit is waived by a majority vote of the board. Members of the public may not yield any time to other speakers. No board action can be taken. Do we have any speakers? None. Thank you. Item 7, the agenda, 7A, to accept the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any questions? Okay. I have a motion from trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second from trustee Sarmiento. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 8 is to approve the consent agenda and routine items of business. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon in one action by the board. It is understood that the superintendent has recommended approval for these items. There will be no discussion prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent agenda. All items approved by the board will be deemed considered in full and adopted as recommended. I do have a staff request for an amendment to the employee location for Catherine McKinney on C1 from Ira Harbison to Lincoln Acres. So within the consent agenda, item C1, under the ratify approved personnel action report, correction from Ira Harbison to be Lincoln Acres. Okay, other than that, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve. I second the motion with the correction.
Any questions? All right, I have a motion by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda with the correction and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
Oh, there it goes.
There we go. Item passes unanimously. Item 9, general functions. 9A, a report on California School Boards Association's Annual Education Conference Special Sessions by Michelle Gates and Marie Bettencourt Castaneda.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. I attended Human Resources, first line of defense for student safety. I'm going to give you just a few highlights. Unfortunately, things to know, and this is specifically pertaining to child sexual assault prevention. Rate of sexual misconduct is increasing, as well as peer-on-peer misconduct. And as a board, we have a moral and legal obligation to do our best to prevent that. Things mentioned specifically that we deal with as a school district: overnight field trips, special trips, access. We have to consider access staff has to students, and we must do our best to make sure professional boundaries are clear and that our policies honor and support that. We also need to do our best to make sure that all of those boundaries are understood by staff and volunteers. The U.S. Department of Education estimates 1 in 10 children experience some form of sexual misconduct by school employees. We are mandated reporters. I know that as a side item, I believe that a number of the board members, if not all of us, made sure that we went as well through some of the mandated reporter training. It's important from top level down to the bottom, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. There are some board policies, specifically 4119.24, regarding professional boundaries and adult and student interactions. Also, there's been an adjustment in recent years. AB 218 actually is looking at up to age 40. If you've had a repressed memory, that you can still go back, call CPS, and hold people accountable. So some strategies they provided: publicizing is key. We don't want you here. If there are issues, they suggested NASDTEC, NASDAQ, as a clearinghouse for review, specifically making sure everyone is being trained, and having a confidential reporting form available on the website or at school sites so that people can, if they are concerned, that they can report quickly and easily.
So one of my 7 sessions was accelerated learning labs and keeping students moving forward. The 4 main topics of this course was declining enrollment. The districts have been confronted with an annual attrition rate of 1,000 students, resulting in an issue of overstaffing. And then the overstaffed, and then the projections for the 2022-2023 school year had the districts overstaffed by approximately 150 teachers. And then additional funds for the ESSER 3 funds provided 77 million of emergency supports. With the COVID-19 learning loss, the pandemic widened the achievement gap, especially with students who were already behind prior to distant learning. So this is something that just widened the gap of the learning loss. So this is something that was a big focus for our students and trying to keep them engaged and just to help us and engage in our students. So without going in depth, we just continue to try to provide them with an additional outlets to help them with other resources. And so just other ways of being able to help them with providing additional supports. So without boring you so much, I have a whole stack of stuff. So, in a nutshell. So do you want me to go to the next? Oh, you're next. Yeah.
Community schools transformation. We are part of a grant for community schools that is basically we're under a parent grant, I believe is kind of how I would explain it. We've received a federal grant for community schools development. Community schools is not supposed to be a program that we put in place. It's supposed to be a listening. What we mean by that, needs establishing and investigating in our community with our families, with our students, with our staff, the needs and assets that we have and that our families have. The work is to be driven by everybody. It is not supposed to be that we as a board decide that something should be in place, or our administration decides something should be in place and they tell everybody that's what we're doing. It's supposed to be the students and families are involved. If they are not, we're not doing community schools. It's also supposed to be that all staff are involved, classified and certificated, our administration, yes, and are confidential. Everybody is involved. If everyone is not involved, we are not doing community schools. The point of community schools, again, what are needs? Well, sometimes we decide that a need is maybe we need a food bank. I'm sorry, how many food banks are in San Diego? A lot. Do we need to be a food bank, or do we need to figure out how to get assets like surrounding food banks to a family? That could be a question. One of the things that I've also learned is that sometimes what we think that was a solution actually wasn't a solution. So one of our nearby school districts realized that children were not going to the after-school program, and they asked why. They thought that it was, well, they're just not getting them there. They aren't coming to school. They aren't. Well, the problem was they didn't have adequate lighting. And so kids were walking in the dark in the morning and walking in the dark at night. They needed lights. They needed that, and that's it. You turn around and you go, wait a minute, we have partnerships. We have the city council. We can talk to the city council. We have other resources out there. There are 4 pillars: powerful student and family engagement, collaborative leadership with shared power and voice, expanded, enriched learning opportunities, and integrated systems of support. And I will be bringing a board policy forward with regard to community schools to present to the board at a later time.
I'm going to skip down to my third session, current legal issues facing governing boards, guidance for board members. One of the topics that was spoken about was managing disruptions at board meetings. And it was regarding the public access like Zoom and YouTube and live streaming, public comments, agenda organizations, speaker time limits, and so on. And it's regarding the disruptions. That's something that they're it's gonna be taking a look at in regards to how we can properly manage that. And because it's becoming a problem, the board meetings are being disruptive, and it's hard to manage. It's hard to conduct proper board meetings because of the constant disruptions. We are very fortunate. We have not had that issue per se. But some boards, they've had to call authorities because it has gotten out of hand, where they've had to close it down, and they just cannot continue and to conduct their meetings. So they're trying to put policies in place to ensure that this is not something that's happening, so that way they can get the conduct business. So that's something that they're definitely taking a look, because it's just too disruptive, and having the Zoom meetings and so on. So, and let me see on this one. I know that we've had to have consider law enforcement, but and also having our board president prepared the recess versus adjournment language choices, and having to
clear the room, review our policies, and so on. So we just have to make sure that we're prepared to ensure that if we encounter that, that we are, have our meetings properly managed. That's it.
I also attended a workshop on significant disproportionality. Impacts on special education of overrepresentation by race or ethnicity. So this importance is back to some of our systemic problems where we will turn around and, for instance, we talk about this with incarceration, for instance, that we turn around and our entire population of the United States is a certain amount. And within that, for instance, our African American population is a certain percentage. But if you look at our incarcerated population, it's been historical for decades that our African American incarcerated population is way more percentage-wise than it should be when you look at it versus our actual people here in the United States. And so it's a similar issue that we look at when we're talking about students. What is your student population? What is it made up of? And how are you identifying them for special education? How are you looking at their eligibility for things? What are you doing for their placements? Usually they find that we put them in put students in a more restricted environment based on race and ethnicity than they should be. It says that 40% are in gen ed or a separate facility. Discipline often is disproportionate based on race and ethnicity. Incidents, types of disciplinary action, including suspension and expulsion. In California, 900 districts are considered disproportionate, that their numbers are not in keeping, their numbers on suspensions, their numbers on expulsion, the numbers of identification for special education are not in keeping with their regular numbers the way they should be. For instance, they gave these pieces of data. American Indian / Alaska Natives are 1.7 times as likely to be identified as having a disability as counterparts. Asian students, and I know Asian is way too blanket a term and I apologize for it, but there's just the census data, so I apologize. 1.6% or 1.6 as likely to be taught in a separate environment. And our African American students with disabilities, 4.1 times as likely to receive out of school suspensions as other students. So this is the type of thing that we as a district have to be paying attention to, monitoring. If you hit 3 consecutive years with the same indicator of disproportionality, the superintendent is responsible to make sure that we know and we're looking at why.
My next session, Safety First, Tips for School Safety and Student Wellbeing. I went to the session thinking I was actually gonna get something out of it. However, I think we're probably ahead of the game at this point. But I'm going to review what was shared. It was talking about making sure that all the drills are being covered, that all the schools are properly trained, that it's not just on paper, that it's actually being executed, and so on. Well, we already know that we know where our AED is at. All our staff are already trained on CPR and so on and so forth. So this was in November. So I was all excited. Well, we're now in March and look at us. So anyways, but this is something that was shared, and then making sure everybody's trained, everybody knows where all of the facilities are, everything and so on. But nonetheless, knowing that where everything is at, knowing that it's not just in writing somewhere on the shelf, but actually what needs to be done, that we know physically how to do all the motions, not just, oh, read the paper, oh, it's right there, that it's actually physically in our hands, and we've done it before. And they gave us this book, I think, On Your Feet, Pete. So really being able to not just be told to us, oh, everything is right there. If there's an emergency, go pick up the handbook and review it. No, we've actually know what needs to be done. So one of the presenters was actually our feeder school. And I think some of our principals attended some of their trainings. But it was interesting, some of the information that they shared, but nonetheless, we're good. I feel very comfortable, but it's something that it's important that one of the information that they shared with us was having a common language from the elementary to the middle to the high school. So that if we have that common language, when they from us to the middle to the high school, they don't have to relearn what to do. It's very seamless. So I don't know how much information we share with them in terms of our emergency trainings, but it's very important that if we can communicate that our students don't have to worry about learning any of the emergency processes. And that was that.
We received a complaint, now what? There are various types of complaints, and we have heard of numerous types. There are uniform complaint procedures regarding discrimination, harassment, intimidation, bullying, retaliation. Can also cover graduation requirements for certain students, things like that. This falls under state law. There's Title IX, which deals with sexual harassment, discrimination based on sex, and is got a number of components to it. It's everything from access to facilities, access to sports, to pregnancies for your staff. I mean, Title IX covers all kinds of things. It's federal law. We also have complaints regarding discrimination in employment. We can have complaints concerning district employees' behavior or instruction-related complaints. We have Williams complaints, or hopefully not, which we present every year as we look at our facilities, our textbooks, our curriculum, our credentialing of teachers. But they talked about being very attentive to your timelines, knowing the difference between the different complaints, because sometimes you may start out thinking a complaint falls under one area. You might think you have a uniform complaint on hand, and it ends up being Title IX. And so there are things like that overlap each other, and their timelines are different. And so basically, if you are starting to follow a complaint, act like it's the shortest timeline. And I found for us as board members, it says, they straight up said, where do board members fall? Well, we have to be aware of our policies, be up to date on them, know what goes on with the appeals process, because appeals sometimes come back to us. Our role is to, if we receive a complaint, is that we don't fix it, because we cannot. We are to send that back to the district and to coordinators. We might want to investigate it. We don't investigate it. It's not ours to do. We need to direct that back to administration and the coordinators, and we can't inform people about what's taking place, because again, once a complaint hits, we are talking about potential privacy issues. And so we have to be aware of that. But the one statement that they made during this that really stuck with me was this: What you permit, you promote. What we allow to happen is what we encourage. And so wisdom says that, and I think that we do this and I'm thankful for it, every complaint should be taken seriously and addressed thoroughly, because it's an indicator of what we're promoting in our district.
Where did all the students go? What can we do? What was mentioned was homeschooling. It is where a lot of students went, and since it's not reported, many schools are not aware. And then some students are skipping kindergarten since in California it's not a requirement, and then they just may naturally transition into school when it's time. And some districts, not ours, but some districts, since they're only offering a half-day TK, they're not even coming into school until they offer a full day. So that's where a lot of districts are being impacted because of the half-day. And one thing that was mentioned, because of the students, because of the enrollment impacting many districts, the school closures was a topic. And then there was a new law that was mentioned in regards to closing of the school. I know this is not something that we want to really talk about, but it's a reality, that there's a lot of impacts in terms of the education code, that there's a new law, AB 1912, in the education code 41329, and it talks about equity impact metrics, and it talks about the facility conditions, the operation costs, the capacity, the programs, the environmental, and so on. So there's a lot more that it relates to, as far as you just can't close it because of the enrollment. There's a lot more that it impacts before you can actually just close it because of that. There's the demographics, the transportation needs, and so on. So it was kind of a very sore subject in that room when we were talking about it, as you can imagine, but it's something that we're not the only district that is impacted by our enrollment, low enrollment, declining enrollment. So it's something that is a constant topic within many districts. So, but that's where a lot of the districts are facing with the homeschooling, and then the kindergarten that is not a requirement for California. So that's what's a lot of the districts are being impacted.
I'm going to trade. I'm going to go ahead and do the next, my number 6 instead of number 5 at the moment, because I went to why close schools. And so how do you make a tough decision like that? Again, as Trustee Bencourt Castaneda just said, it's not unique to our district that we have been losing students. Some surrounding districts are in current discussion and decision-making about closing schools. And so I wanted to go and attend this session, not planning, but preparing, so that we have some knowledge about this. Why are schools, I mean, on the one hand, this makes sense, but why are schools with low enrollment closed? Well, academically, low enrollment can force a lot of combo classes. We can have inequitable class sizes between schools because of more enrollment in one area than another. Teachers don't get to collaborate. If you are actually the only, 4th grade teacher at your school, who are you talking with to help you out with 4th grade? There are issues like that. It leaves less funding for educational classroom resources and supplies. And the variety of programs that can be offered can be negatively impacted. Closing elementary schools, they said, may cost $500,000 to $600,000 a year because of duplication of staff. And this made sense too. If you think about it financially, as district enrollment decreases, revenue decreases, but we don't have half a building. If you lose 25% of your student population, you didn't all of a sudden lose 25% of your building costs. And you didn't lose 25% of a principal. Those costs still stay the same. It's just that your resources are fewer. And this also can impact a district's ability to pay competitive salaries and offer competitive benefits. And as something that they mentioned you need to think about, just because you closed a site, you still have a school. So what are you going to do? Are you repurposing that building? If so, is it to the overall district's benefit that you are repurposing it, or is someone moving in? While we work with and appreciate our collaboration with Integrity Charter, and we have also asked them every year how many students are national school district students who attend your school. And fortunately, those numbers still remain low. They are not taking substantial students from us. But if we were to have a school that moved right into the middle because you close a school and moves right into the middle of a district, well, that's still people's local school. Very possible that people would try to send their children to what's been their local school building for a long time. So how would you repurpose the school to still be of an advantage to your district and not lose those students? There are academic considerations, social and emotional considerations, facility, school maintenance, financial considerations. But they did point out 500 less students times $10,000 loss per student is $5 million, and that's easily an entire school. So, as Trustee Bencourt Castaneda was saying, AB 1912 also came up. It's something that as we look towards taking care of National School District in the future, we will make sure that we are staying on top of this kind of legislation as well.
Preparing for post-pandemic future, leveraging mental health services to nurture student wellness. One of the common manifestations of anxiety and depression in school children is irritability, aggressiveness, and agitation, changes in mood and behavior, and the nightmares, poor concentration, sleep disturbances, and eating disturbances. These are some of the common threads of the students that have been shared, that have been reported to regards to our students. So I know some parents are not aware of the behaviors of our students, and this is something that we definitely need to be shared with parents, and if teachers see these kinds of behaviors, we do need to be aware. So this is something that is very concerning. So unfortunately, it's the reality that we need to know, so that way we can be sure that to help our children. This is something that is it's pre-pandemic, but it's more common post-pandemic. So I would like to ensure that we can make sure that as a district that we have workshops for our parents to be able to identify and to have at least some workshops for our parents to have some sort of support systems in place, because I know that initially we had some systems in place for our parents, but I know that it's been quite some time, but now that it's a little bit past the initial release of us, our students going back to school. We need to make sure that our parents have the support that they need post pandemic, if you will. So if we can get with our parents. Thank you.
We both attended WhatsApp, all things online from artificial intelligence to social media. One of the presenters here was Gretchen Shipley, who is one of our school district's attorneys. And so some of the things that they shared with us included AI is already embedded in our everyday lives. We tend to hear AI and freeze, but it's already there. People are using it for lesson plans, using it for note taking. Even the FAFSA completion, if you are sending a child to college, includes AI. And some AI is used to take a recorded conversation and summarize it and give it back to you. So there are many benefits to it. How do we use it in our schools? Well, guys, it's already here. So it's past how do we use it? It's already here. How do we accept it? We tend to freeze over the cheating part of it and stop. And they said just flat out stop going on about whether or not they're cheating. Think about why. What is it that we're asking of our students that would lend it to cheating? And in some cases, is cheating the same thing it used to be? I don't always know anymore when I have students in front of me. Are they using a resource? We tell them to use resources. Is AI a resource or is it the enemy? Well, how can we make it a resource? They also said AI is not the IT guy's problem. Things to pay attention to: vetting terms and conditions, notices to vendors that they must tell us that if they've updated code to let AI in, protection of personal identifying information, threat monitoring, parent guardian consent. So our goal should be developing policies that protect our students while allowing growth and potential and allowing this to be a potential resource. The last thing to remember, policies must have an equity lens on them as well, because this AI access is a technology access, is a resource access issue. How do we make sure all of our students have the best of AI possibilities in front of them?
Dual language learners and early literacy and TK. One of the things I highlighted is using a home language in the TK classroom is linked to a wide range of positive outcomes, including math and literacy skills in both the home language and English. Dual language learners who attend TK entered kindergarten 6 to 7 months ahead of literacy and math skills compared to peers. And then recommendations for early learners and care. English learners have English learners have lower test scores, achievements below grade levels 2 times are as likely to drop out, less likely to attend a four-year college. Dual language learners are, in California, 7 in 10 students ages 0 to 5 have a home language other than English. So the urgency is for them to attend school to be able to learn at such a younger age. And that's why the urgency is for them to be in the TK with learning the dual language. So I know this is something that we have spoken about, and I don't want to open up a can of worms, but I'm just saying. Programs must support children's home language in addition to English development. Home language competency is critical to fostering bilingualism. So something that they definitely were reiterating about early literacy in the TK programs.
And our last breakout session update is on successful labor negotiations. So the top priority in negotiations should always be success of students. We have a mutual obligation to bargain in good faith on matters within the scope of representation. We should be prepared and informed by understanding our district's unique challenges, our district's budget, our district's history, current contexts, and relationships. All of those things play into effective and positive relationships during negotiations. Our collective bargaining agreement is a history of the compromises and agreements made over the years. And sometimes they've been great and sometimes they're not. Sometimes we look back and go, wow, that's something that really needed to be addressed at that time, but it's not effective now. Sometimes it is, that wasn't the best we can do, let's revisit. We encourage honesty and transparency. We do not want people coming back saying you're hiding money or you're trying to pull a fast one on us. And that includes things like no shuffle game. If we're going to move something somewhere, make it very clear so that we can follow that up with people. How to communicate about negotiations. Make sure that communications are accurate and factual. Remember, there is no direct dealing. Everything happens at the table with the teams. And we cannot promise a benefit or threaten a harm. Hot topics, they said right now, one-time money, ongoing money, coalition bargaining, unfair labor practice strikes. We've got things that are, and as we move towards negotiations, things we want to be wise about as we honor the people who take care of our students every day. Thank you. After all of that, do you have questions?
I do have a comment though. Do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, it seems like safety is one of the concerns because you put it on the top. And I know it's a trending concern, not from because of the past. And hopefully we can have some summary of what has been done for unprecedented events that we had in the past. So I know there's steps that we took on the past that we improve our protocols of safety, but I would like to see that the audience need to know that we did action on that part that improve our protocols. So I would like to see a report on the future meeting so the audience to know what is being done already to improve our safety protocols. Because the audience needs to know, talking about honesty and transparency, because we need to be realistic as well, that we need to show the audience and our constituents we're doing the action steps to be more cautious about what we done on safety. So, because I don't want to feel uncertain if I take my kids to school because events happens and who I'm entitled my kids to. So hopefully we can the audience to know that we're doing step actions and we're deciding for the best interest of our families. So I would like to see that, and thank you for being the safety because I attended several conference on the past and safety, so it was very crowded because people talk and they'll feel that we need to do something in action steps on that. And we not might be perfect, but we have protocols that we improve and we took teachers in consideration, students in consideration, students in mind. So hopefully we can have that on the video. Just a short briefing summary of what we done and the everything else.
Can I just ask for some clarification? So last board meeting, we had a safety presentation with Dr. Vargas, and he talked about the different safety protocols and kind of he did the timeline of all of the things we've addressed this year up until our new safety reports. Is there a specific topic within safety? Would you like our safety committee maybe to come and talk about what their discussion has been, something like that?
Yeah, and because sometimes things have to be done because it takes money and things in place. An infrastructure change that takes money and time and not always like to be done as we requested or our teacher requested, for example. And something that can be done now, what is needed to be done or implement, or an infrastructure change takes time and bonding money or not. So something like that can be added to what we saw the last meeting.
Okay, one more clarifying question. would it be amenable? We have a few safety things in progress right now that are not quite, they're heading into task force.
Okay.
Would it be okay to postpone a few months to let those task forces play out so that we could give you a report on that? Because I think Dr. Burke is on the cusp of 2 task forces right now, one for keyless entry and another for kind of a safety alert system. And so it'd be great to be able to include those in the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Just a bit summary about how been going, because, you know, we are moving forward to safety and keeping the families informed what is what is being done now. This is what we're progressing in, and this is what we've done. This is gonna take a little bit more time, just to keep the people up to date.
Safety isn't always, though, just are our buildings able to be locked. So there are other components to safety. So for instance, this first piece was talking about hiring practices. And you know, one of the things that was mentioned specifically was allowing an employee with potential complaint to resign, but then not following up on said complaint and making sure that complaint is pursued to the end. And so a person who has a potential complaint about them, it's not being tracked, and then they go to a different district or a different state, and those things are not processed. We owe, just frankly, we owe safety to the student that person is going to as well. So safety covers a lot of different areas. And then, of course, we are asking students on a regular basis, do you feel safe at school? Well, what does that mean to them? Is how many students telling us, my teacher yells. Oh, well, your teacher actually has 34 of you in the classroom, 33 of you in the classroom, and has to raise their voice a little bit to be heard when you all are talking. That's different. But do we understand what safety, like students understand what we mean for safety? There are a lot of components to it, not just buildings and gates. So I would actually like to piggyback and ask for a few other components to be addressed as well.
Yeah, so if we could get a kind of the topics that the board is interested in, because as you mentioned, safety is really, really broad, and we don't want to miss the mark and not give you some of the things that are on your mind. So maybe we can offline talk to some of you about the topics you'd like to see us, and then put together a presentation for the board.
Yes, thank you. Because I heard a term, emotional safety. Some students see the school as an emotional safety. So that's something that we can, assess, survey, and what the results are. Because they might need just a little need that, not gonna yell that, but something that the constituents to know that we are very entitled to our students.
Other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Well then.
Oh, yes.
I have 2 books to provide. I don't know who wants to be the takers of these. I'm gonna give them to either Educational Services or to.
And I'll move to item 9B, report on the learner-centered collaborative spring convening. I was able to attend the Learner Center Collaborative last week with our superintendent team as school board president, and talking about our kids and who we hope for them to be. And so we traveled out to Tennessee and into Logan County, Kentucky, and we got to see a couple different places. We got to see from elementary through high school, and then some actual trades being developed. It was very cool. But we are excited because we want to continue to develop and refine our learner profile to impact all levels of our schooling. Now, exceptionally prepared learners, innovative and compassionate world citizens, We have been talking about that for a while now. The development of our learner profile was in an effort to define the outcomes of our district vision of exceptionally prepared learners, innovative and compassionate world citizens. Not just have it be a handful of words, but what does that look like? And you have seen this before. Dr. Brady just went over this with us in July. The learner profile was developed through a series of focus groups and surveys, resulting in the following draft profile. 714 different inputs from students through surrounding business community, parents, staff. And this is, at this point in time, this fall, the district has been focused on clarifying and revising this profile, including looking for areas of redundancy where we're covering we're covering it too many times. We've been and trying to be more clear and concise. Language clarifications, so we say exactly what we mean. Grammar, punctuation, because those are important if you're an English teacher. And just streamlining the entire explanation so that it is accessible to anyone who sees what we are hoping for from our students. So if you want to see like the entire process, this has been part of the process of development over time. So last spring, you can see that this process was started. Currently, we are in the middle of the winter inquiry event. So winter 2024 business inquiry event right there. We're getting close and closer, so we're excited about that. And those inquiry events included Bring a Business to School Day and Bring a Teacher to Work Day, which is happening tomorrow. Yay, teachers get to go to work. Wait a minute. I think they already, but tomorrow's going to be a fun go to work day in a different way. That'll be cool. We just had our spring Learning Center collaborative convening, and soon we'll be sending out a spring survey and reaching out to the middle schools and the high schools for feedback. We want to hear from them whether what we are saying is effectively preparing our students to move to them. And so, here's what the learner profile looks like now. So if you had looked at this, this is where we were, this is where we are. There have been changes made. There has been development over time based on the input we've received to date. The goal is to refine the profile into a usable tool for future purchases, planning, teaching, learning. It's not just for students. It's to turn around and let our educators be able to go, wait a minute, if I'm preparing an exceptionally prepared learner, I need that student to be confident in their knowledge. I need them to be able to be self-directed and focus on, this is what I need to do next in my steps, that they actually can use this as a tool for their learning or for their teaching as well. Now, we walked away with some learnings of our own, which is the point of these conferences. And one of them, it was looking at district-wide goals, aligning schools to those common goals. If we're going to have district-wide goals, and yet one school looks completely different than another in how those goals get processed or thought about, we aren't moving our entire body of students forward to go to National Middle or to go to Granger and have them have similar experiences, a similar body of knowledge, a similar approach, yet while acknowledging their uniquenesses. We need them to be prepared as a unit and not leaving anyone behind in that. Building on learning over time, we also talked about having students to track and defend their learning. This was one of the really cool things. We got to see 3rd, 5th, 8th, and 12th graders actually present us with a portfolio of what they have learned based on the things that their district had said, yeah, if you're an exceptionally prepared learner, show me what that looks like. And each student has to do that in order to move to the next grade. So third graders have to be able to do that in order to move to fourth, which was kind of crazy. And their 12th graders have to do it to graduate. What does it being a compassionate world citizen look like? Also, another thing we walked away with was there was a lot of talk about business partnerships, because we are preparing students for careers. Even though we might be preparing them for college, those who choose that, we are truly preparing them for the career after college. So what is it, like, that's our bottom line. We are preparing them to be effective contributors in the career that they choose and the communities that they live in. Hopefully they stay in National City, because this is a cool place to live. And another thing we walked away with, we need a greenhouse. Their greenhouse was actually not just a tool for teaching. It gave its students opportunity. Like, they had planned out what they were going to do in the greenhouse, what was going to grow, what they were going to use for special events, because they were going to grow flowers to actually be able to do dinner, like to use for flower displays at dinners and homecoming, all kinds of things. And it's actually self-funding, because they turn around and they sell to the community, and the community is very supportive. And so with the, I think he said 60,000 plants that they raised, it kind of cycles back in a lot of ways and helps take care of itself, but it also teaches the students working, hospitality skills as you welcome and talk to someone about the different plants that you have, as you sell them and realize you got to make that change, and you also have to figure out what's a budget that you can work with. So there was a lot there just in that greenhouse, besides the fact that it's just really, really cool. So some of our validations that we came back with, work that we're already doing that is positive, our work towards our own learner profile. Looking at it again and going, yes, actually, this is the direction that we believe will profit our students, help them move forward. The systems we're building across schools, we have been doing that. We have been working towards a cohesive structure, curriculum that's supportive of all our students. And the investment we're making in closing the opportunity gap through things such as STEAM, Ocean Connectors, Olivewood Gardens, animation, all of that, all of those things, as we reflected, were very positive for our students' growth. And last, what will we take back to our district to try? We identified 3 things to focus on. How are we going to measure that progress towards our learner profile? Because kind of like that comment of what you promote. Well, what are we promoting? What is it that we value? What is it we want to see from our kids? What is it we want to see from ourselves in supporting our kids? Bringing others along by ensuring communication and feedback on the profile. One of the things that dawned on us was, wait a minute, we haven't talked to the middle schools and the high school. And if, like you said, if we are talking, whether it's the emergency systems, whatever it is, why not have that continuity from TK through 12th grade? Because we know where our kids are headed. We get them when they're young, but we are sending them off. And we want them to be able to do everything at the next steps that they need to do. And the last thing is, being open and flexible to adapt as necessary. It's something we need to do, and seeing as the world is growing and changing all the time as our kids, we need to be able to adapt as well. So, do you have any questions for me?
When are we gonna have the greenhouse?
Figured that would be your first one.
Because, you know, as you mentioned, they create skills, and it's entrepreneurial skills. You know, they adapt, they put hands on, which is most likely the main part. But it will be a great opportunity for they can do accounting, you know, stocking, the supplies and the hands-on training and the
marketing skills, social media posts, something. So this is a big thing to do. So I'm envisioning something like that to the kids. If like high schoolers can do it, you know, in my sixth grade, county, you know, some entrepreneurial skills. It's a skill.
Can you imagine bringing the TK kinder age kids to like a aquaponics, like as they watch fish and we talk to them about the fact that the fish feed the plants, like how cool would those things be?
That'd be right next to the, central kitchen, right?
Yes, please. We have
Yes,
dreams.
please.
We have dreams.
Why not?
I would, yes. Central kitchen.
If there are no other questions,
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I would like to call for a 5-minute recess because we still have a lot of work to go through. And that would give us the opportunity for some bathroom break and water. So 5-minute recess. Thanks.
There's coffee and pastry in the back.